Let's try that again. I was going to start that off.
That's entertainment.
God. All right, entertainment.
Yes.
I have a few ideas that are all related, so I'm gonna wrap all these into one big enchilada, and I'm gonna read these off here. I wish there was a way to watch a show without having to see the ugly stuff. That's by Ash Lergic. I wish there was a way to fast forward through some of the scenes in movies and TV shows. That's from Ellen John Hood. And in the same vein, I wish you could get clean edits of movies the way there are clean radio edits of song. That's from CatJoy05. I like the idea of,
who are all these prudes?
Well, I understand it. In fact, there is a company called Enjoy Movies Your Way. It's very hard to see what exactly it does, but it's an AI plugin. I think it's a plugin that works with all the main media streaming services. They had a very brief clip of Indiana Jones scene. I think we're in the courtyard where they're fighting the guys with the swords. And the AI, I guess the extent of cutting out the violence is to zoom in on his crotch so that you don't see the other guy behind him getting stabbed.
The irony.
Yeah, the irony. Or whatever. Or it zooms in on his shoulder or something, or it pans across. Okay, so
is it for children? I'm confused.
I think it's for families, and that's actually what I think one of the founder there says. It's really for families who want to sit and enjoy movies where even the MPAA ratings are not quite what they would want. And I think the line I heard was, you caught off guard by a sequence or a scene that you weren't expecting given the rating, and which happens sometimes. Sometimes some things get through, you're like, oh, that's interesting.
So is it like a live filter?
I guess it's a live filter. They do more than, that company does more than just the essentially content moderation. They do a number of things, but I think what these people are talking about is some way to watch a movie that may be popular without the swearing in it, maybe without the sex scenes in it, maybe without the drugs or the violence in it.
I am very opposed. Morally, artistically, etc. I think if that's not the movie for you, you watch something else.
I see that, but even, you can call it prudish, but even scenes from, Lord of the Rings, maybe even the whole idea of Lord of the Rings offends you.
Then that's not the movie for you.
Maybe so, but that's a discussion for a different day.
I mean, I don't like country music. I don't expect somebody to develop an AI that turns it into like rock and roll. Or hip hop. I
do actually see when you want maybe some things in a movie that you would otherwise want to watch, even Star Wars. There may be a scene in there where there's maybe
respectfully,
it's okay to disagree.
Or disrespectfully, even I disagree.
Yeah, no, I see that. I do understand, and I think the idea of the clean radio edits. That's a good point. They do make clean radio edits.
Yeah, which I also think is stupid, but...
it depends. It depends where you're coming from.
Ready? Here's the rant.
All right.
The United States in particular is overly prudish about...
Agreed.
About curse words.
Yeah.
Nobody's topless on TV. There's no curse words, whereas if you go to the UK or France or wherever...
Right.
It's just... Nobody worries about it.
I mean, I think I do agree with you on that score.
People need to lighten up.
On one other score, though, I think there is a lot of violence on TV. And I shouldn't say TV. We're talking about streaming media here.
Yeah. No, I agree.
There's a lot of violence. That being said, Netflix also has a kids section. Obviously, all the streamers do have kids sections. But I do understand when sometimes I have to say, I have even had movies that I really wanted to show my daughter. Maybe when she wasn't 15, when she was maybe like 11.
I do too.
But for a couple of scenes, and we would either fast forward through the scenes, they're not ready. But otherwise, great movie making, great storytelling. That's the thing is, the stories are great.
I know.
But for a couple of scenes.
Right.
And I think you can't have a blanket kind of statement about, that I disagree. Well, not exactly. There are great stories out there, but for a couple of choices the director at the time made, where you're like, but for those couple of scenes, I would love to show, for example,
there's a sex scene.
Jurassic Park is a great example.
The sex scene in Jurassic Park is fantastic.
It's a great movie, great movie making, great storytelling, characters, great cast, Everything about it's great. Great music, perfectly watchable, but for a couple of scenes.
Yeah,
And it's like, I'm just curious, like,
censorship is a slippery slope.
censorship is a completely slippery slope. I'm just wondering if that kind of technology can be used for other things as well.
Sure.
Despite our opposition to the idea of censorship, are there instances where that might be good? Live concerts? I don't know. Don't take your kid to a live concert. Or maybe you want to go to a live concert, but you are offended by certain words. Why would you go to that concert? I don't know.
Well, you know what's interesting about that is, and having a child changes this completely, right?
Yeah.
There was a time pre-child when I never thought about or cared about what came out of anybody's mouth.
Yeah.
Now I don't want my kid to expose to certain things. Even, she loves Taylor Swift. Even Taylor Swift, there's things, or the Barbie movie. She wanted to see the Barbie.
Yeah.
She still hasn't seen the Barbie movie because my wife watched it. There were some things in it that she didn't think were appropriate for my daughter.
That's actually a great example.
And
otherwise, it's for girls to be watching such a pro-feminist movie.
Yeah,
that makes the case.
However, I haven't watched it. It's not like Barbie for Barbie.
No,
it's like the Barbie cartoon is a lot different.
Editorialized version.
Yeah. Why has Blizzard not created StarCraft 3 and World of Warcraft 2? Now, there have been a ton of expansions for both games, especially World of Warcraft. They roll out an expansion every, 6 months or so.
Yeah.
And it sells well still.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And this is what it comes down to. They'd rather make money off of microtransactions than dump millions into producing a title that lasts them 5 years.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft was first put out, whatever it is now, 15 years ago or 17 years, something like that. How on earth have they not just said, we're making a completely new game and it's coming out? I mean, it would be huge. There have been grumblings that StarCraft 3 might be in the works for sometime in the next 5 years from now.
Yeah. But game development, when they come out with a new version of an old game, like you're suggesting, StarCraft 3, World of Warcraft 2, are they going to kill the cash cow, 1, or are they going to kill the game, number 2? Are they going to kill the game by coming out with a game? Will it be better?
Well,
are there ways of
Call
making
of Duty
games?
does it every year.
Do they make the game better and better? The graphics get better.
That's to be debated, right? I mean, every game is
the
different.
Playability of it.
I would say the current Call of Duty is a disaster. But
we played the hell out of COD2.
Well, I think
COD2 is like, for me, was like the first StarCraft. And you can say the same thing about movies. Are these companies just doing the sequels for the money, or doing a sequel because the director wants to make a great movie?
No. Doesn't exist. I'd love to see that kind of. I'd love to just, and it's because I had such good experientions with those games when they first come out.
You fall in love with them.
I played the beta. I was on the beta test of World of Warcraft, and it was just like, it was that initial and maybe that can never be replicated. And so, that's part of it too. Like, you can never have that when you get into that world, and anybody that's not a gamer is not going to really get it.
No, it's a culture.
But when you first get into this new world, it feels like you're there and you're playing with friends and you're exploring these things, and every turn is something amazing. It's a great feeling, and I'd love to have that again. But a service that provides access to multiple major publications for a single monthly fee, similar to a subscription bundle. That's from Board at Gym. Publications. So that I'm assuming they mean like online newspaper subscriptions. So actually written content.
But immediately my brain goes to podcasts, streaming media, and we've talked about this before, but why isn't there a way to bundle in a more affordable way? We get back to the whole cable conversation again, but why isn't there a more affordable way to bundle Hulu, Max, Netflix? It would be herding cats. Yeah. They have their own profit models, but
I still like the idea of a credit system, right?
A credit system,
where you pay a monthly fee for $50 a month, gives you X number of credits, and those credits get spent individually on individual content, right? So I think that's an equitable way to whatever that content is, and that content could cross definition of types of content, right? So it could be that I spend 5 credits a month on the new movie that comes out,
Right.
and I spend 1 credit a month on
Right.
this amazing podcast.
Right.
And
it would create some competition because they would then
Yeah.
price.
Yeah,
one would hope.
there'll be a level that
They
it'll
would price their
settle
TV
out
shows
at.
a certain way. They would try and match you others, but you're spending your money
I guess
here.
making it about credits, I guess that's money, right?
It's like, it makes me think of when you go to like a carnival, like a state fair, and you buy a bunch of tickets.
Yeah.
You can use the tickets wherever you want. I actually love that idea.
It's this abstract. I think I like credits for things because, from a business perspective, it abstracts out the money. People don't worry about spending more.
Yeah.
And that's why they do it. I mean, that's why they do it at carnivals. That's why, you do it in games where like we were just talking about gaming and microtransactions. That microtransactions are how games work.
Yeah.
Whether, you know it or not, whether you're playing Fortnite or Call of Duty, the way they make their money is, for the most part, these games give away the game for free.
Yeah.
And now if you want special guns and outfits and everything else, you go do the microtransaction in the game for $2 here or there.
Yeah.
And a lot of those microtransactions are credit based. So you buy 1,000 credits for $15 and then you go spend 300 credits on that gun. And
I think that's got legs.
It's discounted the more credits you buy.
Yeah, because we don't get Hulu, we don't get Disney, we don't get Max. We just really have Netflix.
Oh, really? See, we have all of them.
We get, and it gets expensive. And
it is expensive.
We don't watch enough,
We canceled cable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
and
for sure.
I didn't for the longest time because of football. Was the
Again,
thing.
how would that fit into this?
Like,
I would love credits to be able to watch tennis. It's a great example. I watch tennis. I used to watch tennis religiously. All I want now is to be able to watch the tennis finals.
Yeah.
Men's and women's. I want to watch just tennis finals.
Are they not on like Prime or?
No, typically it's like the tennis channel. You might find the U.S. Open. You might find on like local NBC. Okay. But Wimbledon's UK, Australian Open's Australia. French Open's France. You're not going to find these.
Can you watch them online, or are they streamed on YouTube?
No, and it's notoriously hard. And it's like, imagine how much money a company would make if they just simply streamed those tennis finals, just the finals, or even just maybe from the quarterfinals through to the finals.
And I assume it's a licensing thing or something.
Some of it's licensing, like the French Open. They're notoriously tight-fisted.
Well, and so that's why we held on to cable for so long, because there's a couple games a year that are on the NFL Network and on ESPN, whatever, that you're not going to get if you unless you pay for something, some subscription to the NFL
it's the
Network.
Nickel and diming again.
It gets tiring. It gets nickel and dime.
It's really,
and it's like, no, I want to watch 2 games a year that are outside of network television.
I mean, it's subscription fatigue. It's just you are so. I mean, we've gone from one evil, which is the unaffordable cable bill, paying for stuff you're not going to watch all of it.
Yeah.
To subscription overload, where you've got 4 or 5 different subscriptions to different media streaming services.
100%.
That you're never going to have time to watch all that content, and so people are jumping around.
Yeah.
I like the idea of that might be a good solution to that. I don't know what you all think, but if that was a service today, I would buy that.
A Tinder-like service to matchmake people with similar interests, specifically in gaming. So people that are looking for somebody to, and not just video games, but board games. So people that are looking for like-minded individuals to connect with, to play either a board game or, role-playing, Dungeons and Dragons,
Risk,
or whatever board game they want to, as well as video games, right? Yeah. So because that's something that I have a handful of friends that I play certain games with. Let's talk video games for a second, but they're not always available at the same time that I'm available. So I'd love to just expand that. I also want to play with people that are of the similar demographic. Yeah, I don't want to play with 18-year-old kids.
No, right.
I want to play with people that are kind of within 10 years of my age range, that are mature, that have the same goals in the games.
That's right.
I like to play, like, if I'm playing like a Call of Duty type game or something, I like to play a certain way. People like to play games.
There's an age thing there for sure.
It's an age thing. Maturity thing.
Yeah.
Just like I think there's got to be some way to do some type of matchmaking for people of interests.
Yeah,
similar
I like the
interests.
board games thing, and I play tennis a lot, and sometimes you'll just have solo players showing up and asking if they can just
Like
join.
when you found your tennis partner, where do you go to find that?
That was Reddit, and actually that took a while for me to figure out because for the longest time, all these sites Meetup is terrible.
In a tennis subreddit or in
a tennis subreddit, actually a
subreddit?
Providence tennis subreddit. But back in the day, we were using Craigslist. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Really touch and go. Meetup.com was awful. Sorry, guys, awful. Nextdoor, I had a couple of hits, but it's not organized enough. People are too sort of flaky.
And maybe
With the
there's just
Reddit
not,
thing,
is there just not enough demand?
well, Reddit, immediately on Reddit, one little chat got started. And this is Providence. This is even like a large urban, hub. Immediately, there were about a dozen people on there. And I played more in the first couple of weeks than I had in months. I would see a huge buzz about that kind of service. This is J.R. Jenks saying, a service that manages low content subscriptions switching to a different service each month. That one basically being automated. That's me to a T. That's my household.
Like you watch Hulu this month and
more
HBO
so just the
next
fact
month.
that he says low content subscriptions. We don't need a lot. We don't need Netflix. There is so much stuff on Netflix. Like anyone who knows what Netflix paralysis is, when you're up there and you've got your dinner out and you're ready to watch something and now your dinner is getting cold as you go through.
So you gotta do
let's
that
try
first.
the movies. Oh, well, let's try the comedies. Well, let's try the TV shows. And by the end of it, you're like, my dinner's cold. I still haven't found something to watch.
It's like the way you used to go in the video store and walk around for an hour.
And you walk around for an hour, and you thought you knew what you were going in for, but now you have no idea, right?
Yep.
And we don't use, I'm sure most people don't even use 10% of what's on Netflix. We don't even use 1% of what's on Netflix. We don't need a lot. We would like to be able to switch out from Netflix to maybe Hulu or maybe Apple TV or
Which you can, but it's just a hassle.
It's a hassle. You gotta unsubscribe. You don't want to be paying for the two. We're never going to use the two. We watch maybe 1 hour of TV a night. Sometimes we don't even watch TV at night. But every now and then we want to have like a Friday night movie at home. What would be the solution for that? Again, is it going to be like herding cats, trying to get media companies to let you have your subscription expire, but then do you have to manually subscribe to the next one? Or is there a service you can just sign up for? Give me 30 days, we'll figure it out. You just let us have the 30 days of Netflix. We will figure it out on our end. And then the next month we're on Max or whatever the other one that the Disney Plus.
And this is why I come back to, and we've talked about this before, which is, why are we not buying the content from the producer of the content? Right?
It's all through these middlemen streaming platforms.
Right. Because,
they have the money to produce them.
And I mean, Netflix and Hulu, there's serious infrastructure there, right? I mean, so it makes sense that not every provider can spin up that Netflix's infrastructure. And
we've seen that. It took forever for others to catch them.
Paramount and HBO Max.
Yeah, they were just getting started.
Max.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if it's possible, given the way the world works. If you catch my drift,
I think it may be. I think it may be a choice between, the old cable way, which is you just suck it up, buy all the subscriptions, cancel the ones if you think of it when you need to, and keep the others. But I feel like we're in this weird content glut where there's just too much to consume. The streaming platforms know they can charge a certain amount. Mm-hmm. They must be making enough of a profit to keep those models intact because we don't see anyone really jumping ship. If anything, they're all just ratcheting up the prices. So I don't know what the solution is to that, but it seems like there's a need for it because we keep coming across these calls for a more intelligent way of sharing or jumping between these different.
When you talk to anybody, you go out to dinner with anybody, you end up talking about shows that you're watching. Right? You end up talking about whatever you've seen. And then everybody ends up saying, "Oh, I'm so sick of paying." And it comes down to people talk about the subscriptions, and it's so everybody's kind of fatigued with subscriptions. And I think there will be a shift at some point. I don't know what it's going to be.
It goes back to, you had mentioned at one point a pay it once model, which I guess is a credit model. You pay once and then you spend down what you paid for.
Yeah.
And they could be different tiers and you pay more for the higher tier and you get more credits towards it. I guess that would just be the way through that. That would, assuming you could make those streaming platforms work together.
Why is there not an antidote for getting drunk or high? So
That's entertainment, folks.
people go out to have a good night on the town.
Oh,
They
boy.
have a few cocktails. You had 2 or 3 cocktails. You probably shouldn't be getting in the car and driving home.
No, you probably shouldn't.
Why is there not a pill or something or a drink that you can take that within a half an hour? No, I'm obviously not a medical professional, but within a half an hour, medically, it actually makes you no longer drunk.
It would be a blood cleansing, kidney cleansing, liver cleansing. I don't know what that would do to the body. Is the antidote worse than the poison?
I mean, the real antidote is don't drink it in the first place.
Don't drink in the first place.
But then that brought me to the place. It's funny that you said the antidote is worse than the poison.
Yeah.
It brought me to the place of thinking that, and then thinking, well, what is the goal? Well, the goal obviously is people like to get buzzed, right? So why?
Yeah.
So why? How about then instead of an antidote, why is there not some method of getting buzzed that only lasts an hour?
Again, it comes down to biology, I think. And it's interesting you bring up the point, because I think about if you want to not have your body absorb too many carbs, one of the things is apparently some vinegar with water. You chug vinegar with water, a glass of that, before you have a carb-heavy meal like a bowl of pasta or something.
You shed some
and
of
the
the
body
carbs.
does a certain thing. You don't get that glucose spike, right? Anyone who's lactose intolerant, you can just pop a pill, then you can have your ice cream.
Yeah.
Is there something that you could ingest right before you, or 30 minutes before,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Same thing with like Beano, it prevents, gas production.
Yeah, and it lets you get buzzed, and then
Maybe it doesn't even let you get buzzed. Maybe you can just go out drinking with your friends and you only get to a certain point of like, maybe you don't even get buzzed, but you feel the effects much less.
Yeah.
My only fear is, would people go overboard, as people do?
Oh, of course.
Drinking 3 drinks and they've taken 1 pill, they feel, I can go for 10 drinks now,
Yeah.
Any biologists out there? Is that even is there a substance you can ingest before you ingest alcohol? I don't know what that would do to your intestines,
Obviously, this is
Fascinating.
beyond our expertise.
beyond our expertise. Yeah,
I just think I enjoy a good cocktail.
Yeah.
I enjoy the taste of it, the mouthfeel of it,
Yeah.
the slight buzz from it, just of a good, have a Manhattan, have a
gin and tonic on a hot day. I love it.
Any
Yeah.
cocktail. And that goes beyond a mocktail, right? Mocktails are fine. There's something different about, if I make you a margarita mocktail and I leave out the tequila versus a margarita, it tastes different. It feels different.
That's why you have things, you have social smoking, because you are going out for the experience with your friends. Because again, it's social drinking. You're out to have a good time.
Right.
If I was then just ordering a lemonade, and all my friends are ordering these cool drinks with like these crazy names and crazy ingredients in them, the mocktails almost make it. And we've tried the alcohol-free.
Alcohol-free alcohol. Like my wife had bought
There's
me like
a business idea.
A fake whiskey.
There is
It's
a
just
business
awful.
idea.
It was
I mean,
awful.
if-
everyone I've ever had is
If
awful.
anyone out there has got
The
some
closest thing is some of
better
the
way.
beers, right?
Oh,
some of the
Klaus Thaler non-alcoholic beer. Stop drinking O'Doul. Stop drinking all the other ones. Klaus Thaler, not a sponsor. It's amazing, and they have 2 variants. They're really good. One's really hoppy. I love it. But yeah, it's the social aspect, but you don't want the effect of the drug on you, essentially.
Yeah. Buzz aside, if I was able to drink a whiskey and not get buzzed from it, that tasted exactly and felt mouthfeel-wise, felt exactly like a good bourbon does or a good scotch does, I would probably do that occasionally.
Yeah.
Right? Like that you're not looking for the buzz. You just want like, oh man, that tastes good.
I mean, it's an alcohol neutralizer. And essentially, the one thing about this idea is you want to have fun without the consequences.
Yeah.